All right, all that aside, and speaking of stages and performance issues, yo, the Monster Hunter community is nuts, dude.
They are.
These stories keep happening, and the one this week is a doozy.
It sure is, Wooly. It sure is.
One
This is a great
player,
segue in talking about microtransactions.
one player, Detile Morand on Reddit
Very big optimization nerd, by the way.
went
Huge nerd about game performance.
in and had a giant post where they basically solved the reason why Monster Hunter Wilds has tons of performance issues.
So I went into a lot of detail on this, so I can give you a much more comprehensive breakdown.
The reasons are the most batshit fucking insane, goofy things that are like, talk about your damnation of modern gaming, right? Like, just the cause and effect of modern practices resulting in this type of quality of life reduction.
Yeah. So let's go down the list of shit, right? Because there's a million, right? So first of all, Monster Hunter Wilds released a terrible fucking performance, like abysmal performance, and it used like frame gen to like make up that performance, but it barely worked. Second of all, they said, hey, we're going to improve the performance on PC in like a year. And we're coming up on the end of that year now. The final performance patch on PC is supposed to be in February, right? Following that, they released a patch that massively broke the game's shader cache, which actually decreased performance significantly for everyone. So you had to manually do a bunch of Windows shit to delete your shader cache. And on the Monster Hunter Wilds Steam page, it literally shows you the steps you have to do. And all I could think of is, hey, shouldn't the fucking game do that if the game broke itself?
It doesn't just boot up and warm the shaders?
No, you have to go and manually delete it because there was a patch that caused the shader cache to file in wrong.
Okay.
So, and every couple of months, there's something that basically it goes, okay, I found out the problem with Monster Hunter Wilds' performance, and they're all real, right? And when somebody brought this up to me, I was like, that's probably true. But the real reason Monster Hunter Wilds is performing badly is because the game has not been optimized on the PC at all. Like, they literally just didn't. That's why we keep finding these new fucking things. So here's the new thing. Gentleman who is a massive big performance nerd who sent in bugs for Dragon's Dogma's performance, so he's familiar with the Reach for the Moon engine.
And
right?
Digital Foundry confirmed all these findings, by the way.
So he's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on in the hub. So it's really strange. Monster Hunter Wilds does not have a visually impressive hub. Like the online multiplayer one is pretty cool, but like the little small settlements that you hang out in, they're not actually like pushing a bunch of juice. But for some reason, they fuck up your frame rate pretty bad. It's really strange. And he was talking to a friend of his who described, well, I don't have any problems there. So he goes, okay. So he logs into his friend's account, and sure enough, on the same computer on his friend's account, the performance is much better, significantly better. And he switches back to his account and goes, what? It's actually worse. It is actually the Steam account that is causing the change in performance. What could this be? Well, his friend is a rich guy, and his friend just bought every single DLC that ever existed because money is no object, because he's just a rich guy. And it turns out what's happening is that the DLC counter character in the hub is checking thousands of times a second to see if you have every DLC installed, and keeps checking unless it determines that the DLC is installed, which ties up a huge proportion of your CPU cycles and drops performance horribly.
Every time I've ever heard about like memory leaks and just shitty jobs programming, these are the types of decisions and code. This is the type of code that seems to be behind it. Things that keep checking for something. So, for example, booting up Strive, it took fucking 5 minutes to get to the main menu because it checked whether the servers, it was pinging Japanese servers up some 300, 400 times from the moment you pressed start, right?
Yeah.
The fact that your lack of DLC purchases makes the game run worse is some biblical fucking nightmare shit. Like, you want to talk about, we used the term years ago, reversal edge, fear of missing out.
Yeah.
You know, the FOMO of not having something. Now it's like, no, not having it, it makes your game get worse by not having it. It's not even about you want the thing. It's you need the thing for your shit to run. It's fucking crazy, man.
So yeah, it is hundreds. I'm watching a 47-second video in which it checks for DLC fucking 7,000 times.
Yeah, this is the type of thing that is like, it can't possibly be intended, but oh my god, just the fact that it's real, it just speaks volumes. Because again, this is not the first time there's been a story about shitty Monster Hunter Wilds optimization and PC issues and whatnot, and telling people to go dig into files to solve their problems. But coming from something that does not need to be there, that never needed to be there, that some people actively hate, and that like the things that make games worse over time, the transactions and the muddying up and the mini buys and all that shit, now coming back in to make a thing that runs actually fine worse is just, it's fucking poetic.
So, Woolie, I have a question for you, because you are an expert in testing. Like, you have a lot of knowledge, and I have a suspicion that this bug is a test failure. Because the question becomes, how did Capcom not notice this? And my assumption is that the internal testing they did for PC was on clients that had all the DLC unlocked. Therefore, the game would never surface this problem.
Does this issue occur on consoles?
No.
Only PC.
Only PC.
Yeah. So on console testing, going in with multiple different DLC configurations is a mandatory compliance thing. There's tons of test cases dedicated to having DLC 2 but not 1, DLC 3 and 1 but not 2 and 4, and every permutation in between. There's a major component of this that happens every time you add anything to the game. And anytime there's something that can be affected by it, or somebody that did have the DLC saves the game or whatever, deletes it, and then goes back in, how does it treat that? There's all these different permutations, but that's all not PC standards. That is Microsoft standards, that's Sony standards, that's Nintendo standards, right?
Right.
PC shit tends to be wild fucking west. There's a couple of Steam checklist things you do overall, but it's nowhere near as diligent and aggressive about it. So that's why these things tend to happen. So that explains
the second question that people ask was, how come this didn't happen for Monster Hunter Rise? And the answer is because Monster Hunter Rise is a Nintendo Switch game
ported after the fact.
Ported to PC.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time you see some loose handling of this shit, you can assume it's because, PC testing, PC compliance is not really a thing. It's up to the dev to do whatever they want, but you can get away with all kinds of shit. You know? So
Capcom should have done their due diligence and replicated the same testing on PC, but it looks like they just didn't.
So that's the other problem, is depending on what your lead platform is, depending on how you've set up your test cases and your structure, sometimes PC is an afterthought. Sometimes you get people that are coming in going, okay, regress some of these bugs on other platforms, see if they still happen. And then for PC, just do a couple of PC specific things, because for the most part, it should be fine, right? Every tester play on a different level of hardware and, do a couple runs and see how it goes. But shit like this is absolutely substandard PC testing. Because PC testing is a place where, believe it or not, you can save money because there's no submission costs, and because you don't have to be as stringent about your guidelines. The developer can be like, throw 10 people on Sony, throw 10 people on Microsoft, and throw 2 people on PC. you know?
There was a very interesting thing during the Resident Evil showcase, which sucked, by the way, where they had an NVIDIA partner talk about how NVIDIA was supporting RE9 really good. And like they basically stood there and was like, we promise that performance for RE9 will be good on your computer, which was a really fucking weird thing to say, except, oh, your other big game that sold a lot last year performs like shit on everyone's computer.
Yeah, man. This is the type of thing that, like, as you know, they're talking about like Steam machines are coming, and you're gonna kind of have this standardized, like, you know, system that should be able to treat PC games as like solid things you don't have to worry about. Like, if this kind of shit continues, it's just gonna be like, yeah, you can get one of those, but why fucking bother if everything they put out is gonna struggle, you know? I want to say that what was I like there were some PC, I'm trying to remember what they were, but there were PC issues with Street Fighter 6 as well, like RE Engine stuff on launch or back when the demo came out. I feel like there's a couple things we talked about that are escaping me now, but in any case, if it's not the lead platform or it continues to be an afterthought, this is the type of shit you're going to see. I saw the end of that person's thread as well. The tester basically said essentially like a threat, which was...
Yeah, I'm not going to release this mod because it skips DLC checks and people could use it nefariously. But if they do not patch the game within 2 patches to fix this, I will release the mod.
Open source.
Which is way, way, way kinder and more like forgiving than like he just put that fucking shit out.
Well, because this is on the same level of that, like, hey, I fixed your net code. Everyone, you can install this like fucking 12 kilobyte file, you know, and then you can, and then you get your official thing that like breaks that and goes, no, don't fucking, we don't support user, you know, solutions or whatever. It's like, yeah, you have to answer this, right? It's definitive. And again, you have like Digital Foundry coming in after the fact going, yep, everything found here checks out.
I am now looking at a gentleman's thread in which he is describing that because he had so many friends on his Xbox friends list that in 2017, when they put out the new Xbox experience or whatever, that his inputs were getting eaten by packets because the fucking friends list data checks were taking priority, and that he was losing inputs in Halo.
The NXE! The NXE, baby! Let's go. Bring back, fuck the blades. We're all NXE. I remember for the longest time, we were like...
I like the blades.
Yeah, I like the blades. We talked about the blades, you know?
I like the blades.
It was like, bring back the fucking blades. But nah, you got to see the bottom of a I was going to say a me. Yes, of a me's foot. What was it an avatar? Avatar. See the bottom of an avatar's foot.
That was so sick because you want to see the bottom, and then the fucking thing broke all of its arms and legs to do it, and they were like, it's incredible. And I'm like, this looks like a pile of fucking shit.